It is no secret that James Harden has had a rough start to the season, averaging just 17 points on pretty woeful shooting splits. And a lot of people are blaming his struggles on the new foul baiting rules, because the main difference from last year to this year seems to be the rule change, and a lot of people are saying that is why he's struggling. And some people are actually saying that he is now washed because he's not able to do what he used to do because of this rule change, which I think is slightly ridiculous. And Steve Nash came out and said that Harden has become the poster boy for drawing fouls, basically saying that he's not getting the same calls because refs kind of see him as the foul baiter, so he's not getting fair treatment, was what Steve Nash was saying. And then James Harden agreed with that.
Coach kind of said the same thing. He said that you're kind of like the poster boy of the new rule change now.
Yeah.
Do you kind of feel that way?
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't necessarily agree with that. Like, I understand that James Harden is looked at as such a foul baiter, and the refs may have missed a couple calls because of it, but I would not say that's the reason for his struggles, and I still wouldn't say the reason for his struggles is because of this rule change. Now, a lot of you may disagree with that, but if you actually watch the game, it's not just the foul baiting. Like, there are a few, plays where he complained about the foul call, but if you're watching him, you see a much more passive James Harden. James Harden does not look the same as he did in past years. Like, you guys really think that the rule change is keeping this man, the same man who won an MVP, the same man who averaged 36 points over a season, the same man who was leading the league in MVP a year ago before he got injured? You think one rule change is going to change the way this man plays basketball and it's going to make him washed? Like, that's pretty ridiculous. But because James Harden isn't very loved in this league, he gets a lot of smoke for his slow start to the season. And I understand it, like when, people aren't providing like they should, when players aren't providing how they're expected to, you're going to get some, hate for it, and I understand that. But how come we're seeing James Harden get this hate, but then Damian Lillard is also averaging 17 points on 8% from 3? 8% from 3. But no one's saying a peep about Damian Lillard. And I'm not here saying that we should start giving Damian Lillard hate because he's shooting so bad from 3 and not having a good season. Because do you really think Damian Lillard is going to sit here averaging 17 points on 8% from 3 for the rest of the season? Absolutely not. And do you really think James Harden is going to keep playing this, bad, I would say? I mean, 17, 8, and 8 isn't bad in general for a player. But for someone of James Harden's caliber, it is obviously not good, especially us knowing what he can do and seeing what he has done. It is definitely not up to par to what he's capable of. So we will give them slack until they improve their play. But I definitely expect both of these guys to improve that by so much. I mean, James Harden is my pick for MVP. Well, he was my pick. Now it may change, but we're only like 3-4 games into the season. So we are way, way, way too early in the season to making these drastic calls saying James Harden is washed, because it's absolutely not the case. And for James Harden's slow start, I am not blaming it on the rule change just because I see a more passive Harden on offense and especially on defense. He does not look like he's playing with energy at all. I mean, especially on defense, but even on offense, like when he gets to the lane, he breaks through. I feel like he's almost passing too much. I mean, his field goal percentage is not good, but sometimes he's passing when he usually would be attacking. Like, I see him there are a lot of lobs that he could have finished. And I mean, of course he has some amazing passes, amazing lobs, but sometimes I feel like he should be shooting the ball and he ends up passing it. And his body language just seems like he's not fully there. Like, I don't know if the rule change caused a mental block in his play, but I just don't see an active Harden. And that also could come from maybe him being out of shape. Like, if you look at a picture of him on the Rockets when you could say he was in shape, averaging 36 points a game, and a picture of him now, you could tell an obvious difference. And we always joke about James Harden like being a shapeshifter because he seems to go from way too overweight to way too underweight. And obviously it's camera angles, people editing photos, all that stuff. But right now he does seem a little out of shape, if I may say so myself. I feel like he's just moving slower. He looks a bit overweight. But don't forget, he's a strong guy. The guy has a lot of muscle on him because when he plays defense, he seems to be a pretty good defender. It's just that the lack of effort, which comes from conditioning and all that stuff. So I think his slow start is a mix of just maybe a little bit of a mental blockage and definitely him being slightly out of shape, because I know what James Harden's capable of doing. He's playing right now as if Kyrie is there. He's like kind of playing, a little more relaxed when the Nets need James Harden to be the James Harden that he was on the Rockets. Someone who is hungry, ready to attack, ready to score, because right now, the Nets aren't looking scary. They're really not. Kevin Durant looks amazing, but James Harden doesn't, and the whole team as a whole doesn't really. They need an aggressive Harden if they really want to make some noise. And right now they don't look scary, and neither do the Lakers. I want to make a video on like the Nets and Lakers, but it is so early in the season that to say the Nets aren't a threat, people are already saying the Bucks are going back to the finals. It's kind of ridiculous because I fully expect the Nets to be the scary team that we expect them to be by the end of the season. Don't forget, there's new pieces. James Harden still has to adjust to the offense, especially running the point guard. You got to get used to the offense of Steve Nash, and you got to get used to the new players that are surrounding him. So I am not worried at all about James Harden. And if you're acting like the Nets are going to be a pushover, you are going to be in for a surprise, in my opinion at least. Let me know what you guys think about the Nets. You think they're going to turn it up? You think James Harden's going to turn it up? Or do you think they're going to be a flop of the season? And without Kyrie, can they be the biggest what if in NBA history? But if you guys enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I will catch you guys in the next one. I am out. Peace.